Hey guys, thank you for renting with Westline Campers. My name is Sergio and I'll be doing your guys' walkthrough. The first thing we're going to be going over is the water hookup and water filled for the freshwater tank. When you get to your campsite, if you do have a city water connection, what you'll do is you'll pull out your water hose. You're going to connect it to this inlet right here. Once you're hooked up to that inlet, you're going to make sure you switch this so that it points to the right. If you're dry camping, then what you're going to do is you're going to leave this valve pointing down so that you can use the water from the tank. If at any point you want to refill the tank, all you need to do is hook up your water hose and let it run in there in the down position. Now the tank will be full when you pick it up. You don't have to fill it back up when you return it to us. In this compartment, you'll also find the black and the gray tank valves. You are responsible for dumping the black and the gray tanks before returning it to us. If you'd like us to do it, we can take care of it, but it is a $45 fee. If you go to a campsite that has a dump station, then you can do it yourself there. What you're going to do is you're going to pull up the dump hose, which is in this compartment over here. It's this black hose with the green ends. You're going to bring it over here. You're going to connect one end to this outlet right here. You're going to lock it into place, take the other end and stick it in a hole in the ground. Put something heavy on it or step on it so it doesn't jump out when the waste is coming out. Once you're all set up, what you're going to do is you're going to pull your black valve first. And then once that's done, you're going to pull the gray one second. It's back here. When you pick up the RV, the tanks will be empty and the valves will be in the closed position. When you bring it back to us, if you did empty the tanks yourself, you will be leaving those valves in the open position so that we know that the tanks are empty. If you return it to us and they're in the closed position, then we will charge you the $45. We're just going to assume that you did not dump the tanks. In the storage compartment under the slide, you will find your sewage hose, your water hose, and a power cord. What you're gonna do if you have power at the campsite, once you get there, you're gonna pull this cord out and you're gonna plug it into the 30 amp connection at the campsite. If you end up with a 50, you can still use it, but you will need an adapter, 30 to a 50. Now most campsites are standard 30, so it's best to check before you get there to see what kind of connection type you have. If you're dry camping, then you don't need to worry about this. You're going to be running off of the generator. There are 4 main things in the RV that you need to either be A, hooked up to the campsite power, or B, have the generator on. Even if you're driving down the street, if you need to use the power outlets, the microwave, the central AC unit, and the TV, if you want to use any of those 4 items, at the campsite you need to be plugged in, or if you don't have a hookup, you need to have the generator on. There's also DEF in this compartment. When you pick up the RV, we will have topped it off, so most likely you won't need this, but if you do need to refill the DEF, I'll show you where it goes. In order to refill the DEF, you're gonna open up the engine compartment. The latch is right here. And it goes where that blue cap is at. If you run out of DEF during your trip, you can always buy some at a gas station. They're about $20 for 2 of those containers. Just save your receipt and we will reimburse you for the purchase of the DEF. The propane tank is also located under the slide. This will be full when you pick it up. It'll be turned on. You are responsible for filling it back up to the same level. All you need to do is go to a gas station that does propane. We can send you the location for the one closest to us. If you don't fill it back up to the same level, then what we'll do is we will charge you $1 more per gallon in the gas station to fill it back up to where you started. This RV runs on diesel. Regular diesel number 2, please. Do not use any biodiesel, any ethanol fuel, or regular gas. It'll kill the engine. Regular diesel only, please. On the passenger side of the RV, you'll find storage compartments. This is available for you to use during your trip. The small purple key in the keychain will lock and unlock those compartments. This is the generator. You do not need to get into the generator from the outside. This is more storage. You can also access that from the back as well. This is also storage right here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the interior now. When you first get to your RV, the first thing you're going to do is turn on the main battery disconnect. It's located to the left of the entry steps. You're gonna set it to use. What this will do, it'll turn on the 12-volt power inside of the RV. It's gonna stay on for the rest of the trip. If at any point you lose power, first thing you wanna check is that someone didn't accidentally turn this off. Right above it is the control for the awning. If you hit extend, the awning will go out. Now, if the keys are in the ignition, the awning will lock itself into place. It will not go in or out. If it's windy, if it's raining, bring in the awning and always triple check before you drive away that the awning is in. You do not want to drive it into somebody else's RV or a tree. It happens too often. To bring it in, you're simply going to hit retract and it'll start to come in. But before you do that, please make sure that you move the door out of the way or else it'll get caught right here. The next thing we're going to go over is the control panel. From this control panel, you'll be able to turn on your water pump. If you need water in the shower, sink, flush in the toilet, and you're dry camping or you're on the road, then you're gonna need to turn this on. If you're not using the water pump, then you're gonna turn this off so it's not running in the background, draining your batteries. Also, if you're hooked up to city water, then you do not need to turn on the water pump. The water pressure from the city water will be enough to get everything going in here. Right here, you can also turn on the water heater. You have a propane water heater and you have an electric water heater. If you're dry camping, then you're gonna use the propane water heater. You're gonna turn this one on 10 to 15 minutes before you need hot water. If you're not using it, then you're gonna turn it off so it's not burning your propane. Now, if you go to a campsite where you have a 30 amp connection, then you're going to use your electric water heater. You can turn this one on and leave it on the whole time you're there. Once you're getting ready to leave, then you're going to come back over here and turn this off. Tank heaters. If you're going to freezing temperatures where there's a risk the black waste or the gray waste might freeze, then you're going to turn these on. If not, leave them off. To the left, you have the control for the slide. This slide comes in and out. It's in the extended position right now. In order to bring it in, all you need to do is you're going to hit retract. Just make sure that no one is sitting on the couch. Also make sure your keys are not in the ignition. The ignition will lock the slides into place. Here's some ceiling lights. Once they're on from there, you can turn them off from here. Patio light, and then the steps. So the automatic steps go in and out every time you open and close the door. When you get to your destination, what you're going to do is you're going to turn them off when they're in the out position so they stay out. When you're getting ready to get back on the road, don't forget to turn them on so they come back in. From here, you can also check on your levels. LPG, that's propane. It'll be full when you pick it up. Just make sure it's at the same level when you return it, please. Battery level. If you're dry camping, you're going to keep an eye on your battery level. If you see it get low, 1/3 empty, what you're going to do is you're going to turn on your generator to recharge those batteries. You're going to let it run for at least 1 hour, and that'll get you a full charge, which usually lasts about 4 to 6 hours depending on how much you're using in here. Now, if you go to a campsite where you're hooked up to power, then you don't need to worry about keeping an eye on your batteries, because the campsite's going to be charging the batteries the whole time you're there. Freshwater level, it'll be full when you pick it up. You don't have to bring this back full. Black and gray. Black is the toilet waste, gray is the shower and the sink waste. Empty. And this one is reading full, but there's absolutely nothing in there. Sometimes things get stuck on the sensors and it'll give you a false reading. So don't worry too much about it if you empty the tanks and you come back in here and it's still showing something. Please remember to only use RV safe toilet paper to avoid this problem. And the last thing on this control panel is the generator. In order to get the generator going, you're going to prime it first. And then you'll hit start. This generator runs on propane. It's a 15-gallon tank, so it'll give you about 16 hours of runtime. On average, it really depends on how much propane you're using in here, because the refrigerator's also using propane, the water heater's using propane, the furnace is using propane. So you'll get about 16 hours. Now, before you start the generator, please make sure that your AC unit is off. You do not want to start the generator with the load. Here's your generator time. You get 4 hours per night. Anything over that is $5 an hour. Now, remember, if you're dry camping and you want to use the microwave, the power outlets, the TV, and the central AC unit, your generator has to be on. Or if you're driving down the street and you want to use the central AC back here, your generator has to be on. Come back over here to the AC. So if you turn on the power button, the thermostat is going to be set to AC already. So it'll be on cool, it'll be 68 degrees, and the fan's set to high. If you want to turn off the AC, all you need to do is turn off the power button here. Now, if you need to use the furnace, what you need to do is you need to change the fan so that it shows down here auto, and you're going to change mode to where it shows up here furnace. You're going to leave the temperature to about the same, 68 to 70 degrees. Will keep the RV nice and warm during the winter. Now, if you want to turn everything off, just hit the power button. Remember, the AC will only run when you have your generator on or you're hooked up to shore power, your campsite's 30 amp connection. You come back over here, you can shut off the generator here. One more thing before we shut that off. The TV controls will be in this cabinet right here. It is a smart TV, so if you have Wi-Fi where you're going, you can connect it to Wi-Fi and stream Netflix, Hulu, whatever you guys have. There's also a Blu-ray player in here that you can pull out, hook up to the HDMI cord and to the power, and watch some Blu-rays or DVDs. Now we can shut this off. You're gonna hit stop right here. The stove runs on propane. If you need to use the stove, what you're gonna do is you're gonna turn this, you're gonna push it in, turn it counterclockwise. You're gonna get a lighter and ignite the burner while holding this in. You're gonna hold it for about 10-15 seconds after you ignited the burner, and then you can let it go. It should stay lit. Remember to bring a lighter with you. The refrigerator is automatic. It runs on propane and electricity. So when you get in here, you're gonna set it to auto. You're gonna set it to the coldest setting. It's gonna ignite. It takes about 30 seconds to 1 minute to go through the process. If you turn it on and you see this light starts flashing after 1 minute, all you need to do is turn it off and turn it back to auto to reset the pilot. It just means that the pilot did not ignite. If you turn on your generator, or if you're hooked up to power at the campsite, then this thing will automatically switch over to electricity instead of propane. Now, it's very important that this fridge stays somewhat level. It doesn't have to be perfectly level, but if you guys park on a hill, let's say your driveway is on an incline, and this thing is leaning too far back or too far forward, then what happens is this thing shuts down for about 6 to 8 hours, and it takes a while to restart. So if you need to park this thing on a hill, shut it off, and then once you get back on the road, turn it on. If you're driving up a hill for about 5-10 minutes, that's fine. That's not a big deal, but it's only when it's sitting there for a few hours that it causes an issue. For sleeping space, you have the couch. You're gonna remove the cushions. Once you remove those, you're gonna take this bottom part, you're gonna pull it up and extend it all the way out. Once you have that out, you're gonna come back here and take this backrest and set it down to complete the bed. There's also the bunk above the cab. You can always put this up to give you some headroom so you don't bump your head into these things. They really hurt. Table and the pose can go into any of these spaces. And you also have the main bed in the bedroom. Now, this slide needs to come in before you drive away. The control is right here. If you hit retract, the slide will come in. Now, before you bring it in, just make sure no one's laying on the bed. Everything's clear all around. The keys are not in the ignition. And it'll stop on its own. You're going to do the same for the living room slide. Retract. The breaker box is located at the foot of the bed. Just want you to know, just in case anything trips, let's say you turn on your AC unit, it doesn't want to work, just come over here, check the breaker, make sure it's not off, or the microwave. Remember, if you're dry camping, you need to turn on your water pump, get your water in the sink or the shower. If you're hooked up to city water, you do not need to turn on the water pump. GFI reset switch is on this outlet in the bathroom. Let's say you have your generator on, or you're hooked up to the campsite's power, and you already checked the breakers and they're good. Next thing you would need to do is to check this thing, make sure it didn't trip. Just hit the reset button and it's good to go. For the dash area, this is where you'll get your miles and your fuel level. So miles are up there. Right now it's at 97,184. Fuel level is down here. Dash AC. You can control it from here. This is separate from the central AC in the back. It does have a backup camera, so whenever you throw it in reverse, it'll automatically switch over to the backup camera. Headlights, windshield wipers, parking brake. In order to release the parking brake, what you need to do is you need to push the button and pull up a little bit and then bring it down, or else it won't release the parking brake. Remember, for the fuel level, you need to bring it back at the same level that you started at. If you don't, we will charge $1 more per gallon than the gas station does. And for miles, you get 100 miles per night. Anything over that is 35 cents a mile.